Ukraine has launched a missile attack on Russia's Taganrog aviation scientific and technical complex, which produces and repairs A-50 aircraft, local Telegram channels reported. US-made ATACMS Army tactical missile system was used in the attack on the complex located in Taganrog city in southern Rostov region on the Azov Sea coast. As a result of the strike, an explosion and fire occurred. Video footage shared in social media shows remains of the ATACMS missile. More than 10 explosions were reported in the area following the Ukrainian attack. Videos posted on social media captured explosions that started around 3:30 a.m. Dozens of cars also burned down. As a result of one of the missiles hitting a local greenhouse, about 30 apartment buildings were left without heating. Local Telegram channels note that the main target of the missile attack was the local military airfield.
Ни хрена себе! Ты видела, как все желтое стало? Видел? Все небо в нем. Это что-то большое горит, походу. Я же сказала, это не просто товар.
Ёб твою мать. Что-то как-то страшно мне, пипец.
Что это?
Не знаю. Мамочки родненькие.
Ты видишь, прям там буря в момент.
Да вижу я шею.
Сгорелось прям все.
Я в ахуе.
Recently, Ukrainian forces launched a counterattack and recaptured recently lost positions near Velika Novosilka in the southern Donetsk region. It was one of several counterattacks by the defense forces in recent days, but this section of the front is not actually critical for either Ukraine or Russia. Forbes analyst David Axe writes about this. He emphasized that the Kremlin is focused on capturing the fortress city of Pokrovsk in Donetsk Oblast. The UK Ministry of Defense claims that the Russian Federation is gradually approaching Pokrovsk. Currently, the Russians are only 6.5 kilometers away from it. And the Russian siege does not depend on which side controls Velika Novosilka and the surrounding villages. Everything may depend on whether Russian forces clear Ukrainian-held heights around Kurakovo, 32 kilometers east of Velika Novosilka. The problem for the Russians is that Ukrainian forces in that salient could threaten supply lines, supporting Russian occupation forces advancing on Pokrovsk from the north. The salient near Dalny contains elements of at least 8 battalions and 4 brigades, no more than 10,000 Ukrainian troops, assuming all units are in full combat readiness. But the salient is surrounded by 9 Russian regiments and brigades with a maximum strength of 18,000 troops, the article says. The American Institute for the Study of War reported that Russian forces continue to use mechanized and infantry attacks to slowly but steadily advance into eastern and central Kurakovo and south of Kurakovo into Dalny. The worst-case scenario for Ukraine is that Russian troops break through the front line between Bogatyr in the south and Novotroitsky in the north, cutting off Ukrainian forces in the east. The Center for Defense Strategy says there is a real threat of encirclement. The only slightly worst-case scenario is a coordinated Ukrainian withdrawal from this line, which would preserve Ukrainian forces but allow the Russians to straighten the front line from south to north, all the way from Velika Novosilka to Pokrovsk. ATACMS explains that by straightening the front line, Russian occupation forces would reduce the threats to their flanks when they finally lay siege to Pokrovsk. If the Ukrainians hold on to this section of the front, the Russians may decide to accept the risk to their flanks and attack Pokrovsk anyway. How soon the siege begins depends on many factors. Winter weather could be a hindrance. An increase in Russian losses in the Kursk region in western Russia could undermine the overall strength of the Russians, the analyst writes. In addition, as early as next month, the administration of newly elected US President Donald Trump may cut off aid supplies to Ukraine and deprive Ukrainian troops of critical ammunition. Whether the Russians will attack Pokrovsk is already a closed question, but how they will do it should be determined in the coming weeks. The Center for Defense Strategies predicts that the upcoming battle for the city will be the peak of the Russian offensive operation in the southwestern theater of military operations in 2024. A small Ukrainian attack in the area of Velika Novosilka cannot stop a much larger and probably inevitable Russian attack on Pokrovsk, stated ATACMS. Ukraine has achieved world records in the destruction of enemy equipment, not counting the Second World War. This opinion was expressed on air by the former company commander of the Adar Battalion of Ukraine, military analyst Yevgeny Diki, on Radio NV. The Russians are rapidly running out of their reserves. If I recently said that their iron reserves will last until the fall of 2025, now it seems that, God willing, they will last until mid-summer. Their real iron reserves are melting away. And this is despite the fact that their defense industry is working in 3 shifts. They reached their maximum in 2023. They have nowhere to grow further, the expert said. He added that all Russian production is currently not capable of covering losses on the battlefield, even given the fact that the Russian Federation is trying to reduce the use of its equipment at the front. They are still trying to fight with minimal use of equipment, and the further they go, the less motor transport they have. I'm not even talking about armored iron. They are really on the brink of disaster, added Diki. At the same time, he added that currently there are no particular problems with personnel in Russia. However, according to the expert, this situation may soon change. They have collected a lot, and now they are using this reserve very irrationally. They are literally filling us with the people they have collected in 2023 to 2024. But the supply of new human material has stopped. Even emergency payments did not work. It turned out that the number of people who are ready to give their lives, even for a lot of money, is not infinite. They have already bought everyone, explained Diki. Earlier, newly elected US President Donald Trump said that Russia had lost 600,000 of its soldiers in the war against Ukraine. He also called on both sides to negotiate to stop this madness. Meanwhile, Pentagon Chief Lloyd Austin said that Russia has already spent $200 billion on the war in Ukraine over almost 3 years. Russian losses, again both killed and wounded in action in just the first year of the war, exceeded the total of Soviet losses in all conflict since World War II combined. According to the report of Ukraine's armed forces, Russia has also lost more than 9,200 tanks, 18,500 armored fighting vehicles, 28,200 vehicles and fuel tanks, 20,100 artillery systems, 1,290 multiple launch rocket systems, 1,000 air defense systems, 370 airplanes, 330 helicopters, 18,200 drones, 28 ships and boats, and 1 submarine.